All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. I know what I am going to be talking about in this video. It's probably going to trigger some people, so I do apologize right off the bat for it if that is your immediate reaction, but my goal is to provide value, and specifically with this video, value that you can apply towards investing and business. So I am going to be talking about why the Bible is the best book for investing, and I want to share with you some of the principles that are in it so you can apply this to your investing. Now, you may believe the words in the book, you may not, but this video isn't about your soul, okay? I'm not here to tell you to repent or convert, but I do hope that you walk away with a practical knowledge that can help you regardless of your beliefs and background. So simple. Give me a couple minutes. If you don't learn anything right off the bat, then click out the video. No harm, no foul. But every time I talk about this topic, people usually walk away learning something new. And I've made a lot of friends that at the onset of the conversation, I never thought we would have became friends afterwards. So it's always cool to learn. And what I'm going to start with, I'm going to just go over various parts of the book and share with you some of the broader topics and how you can apply that to investing. So the best part, the first place we're starting, you can start your timer right now, is economic cycles. Now, one of the best ways to invest, you want to know how to get in. We're early, late, but investing in cycles and knowing the business cycle and knowing where things are at, even counter cycles, it is very big and important for investing. You may have heard people talk about a 7-year cycle. Even after 7 years of a bull market, people start wondering if things are going to go down. That's what happened 2009 all the way to 2016. That's 7 years. You see the market, people got worried, and it didn't end up crashing, but where did this come from? You may have heard of the 7-year cycles, and believe it or not, it comes from the Bible. And now, like I'm saying, you're going to learn something new. If you didn't know this as well, maybe you don't even like the Bible, but the same story where the economic cycles show up in Genesis 41, it is also in the Quran, the 12th chapter of the Quran, the Surah, chapter 12, verse 47. It talks about the story of the prophet Yusuf, and that is Joseph. But it was this story in Genesis that talks about 7 years of abundance and then 7 years of famine. This guy named Joseph tells the king to store it up and be careful because the abundance will lead to a cycle of negativity. So the funniest part about it, we hear about this story in modern times, and this concept of economic cycles, it is very prevalent, but it does generate and go back all the way to the Bible time. So simple. If the ancient books paid attention to economic cycles, so should you, my friend. So now the next one, this is one of my favorites. I talked about this the other day, but the next big investing lesson in the Bible is diversification. This idea of having multiple investments to protect against anything and be balanced. It is an age-old concept. Ecclesiastes 11:12 says, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8, for you do not know what disaster may come upon the land." So I absolutely love this because the principle is so important to investing, and it's very simple. It is flat out saying you are better off with multiple investments than putting all of your eggs in one basket. I also love this because diversification is like the linchpin and king of investing when you really look at it. You know, how many times have I heard it? You know, you guys see all of these things you've on TikTok at 7 sources of income. You think it was just these TikTok podcast videos saying that? No, this concept ages way, way back. Even with me, you guys have seen me over the years investing. I've had a lot of wins. I've had a lot of losses, but the real answer to all of it, staying alive, staying in the game, staying excited, it is diversification. This idea of 7 sources of income is actually quite ancient. This has been the key to success for ages. Diversification, spreading out your ventures. So you don't need to give your life to Christ, but at the end of this video, I hope for your financial sake that you do diversify, because that's a very big concept. So that's number 2. The third thing I want to get into, this one's my favorite, so I'm about to throw a lot at you, but it's the Book of Proverbs. The next big investment advice is the whole entire Book of Proverbs. Now, you may have heard this if you've watched me for a long time now, but this whole book is about business. The Book of Proverbs literally starts off by saying the purpose of this book is to teach people how to live disciplined and successful lives. Now, I've always been fascinated by who wrote it and his status in terms of wealth and history, but there is a couple of lessons here that I want to point out. So you should read the whole book, but I'm going to go and give you a couple. The first one, Proverbs 13. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. I hope you get the lesson behind this one, but it's saying don't rush your investments and avoid the get-rich-quick mentality. What I love about the Book of Proverbs, you're going to hear this phrase said about 10 different times in the whole book so that it drills down the mentality. But literally, apply this to your investing. Age-old wisdom was saying, watch out for the get-rich-quick schemes. That's why I love like Richest Man in Babylon and a lot of others, because it's like you got to really think, man. Back in the day, you think all these new schemes you see now, some people are creative and they are new, but think about it. That stuff existed back then, and for the beginning of time, humans were not getting in on wealth by chasing get-rich-quick schemes. So that one's a simple one. I hope you got that. But then Proverbs 13:22, this one's kind of crazy. It says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children. Now, my dad did not leave me inheritance, so he's still a good guy in my book, but the point isn't to say you're a good or bad person if you left something, but it is telling you to think about the future in terms of how you make your money. You want to be rich? You want to make money investing? Well, don't think short-sighted and think bigger than yourself. That will always lead to a much better investment result. What this really reminds me of is all of the Chads that I've talked to who have had kids and said they became completely different people, and it changed what they were going for. It even changed how they invested. Before you had kids, you could have got away. You wanted a certain type of car. You could have lived off of just this. You get a kid, you start thinking a little bit broader. So regardless of whether you have a child or not, I hope that you, in terms of your money investing, you are setting the goal to leave something behind, even if you're not there. If that is something you set out for, my goodness, I could only imagine what your account will look like throughout the years as you go about achieving that goal. So that's the second one in Proverbs. But this one, it goes really, really deep. Proverbs 27:23. And it says, know well the conditions of your flock. This one is bittersweet because a lot of people don't like it. And what it is telling you is to always have a handle of what you own. Back in the day, you're like, I don't have a flock, Josh. Like, what? I don't have a sheep, but it's like, back then, flock, your sheep, it was about investing. And if you even read it, it explains how one thing leads to another, then leads to another. It's literally breaking down like supply chains and how one input goes into a lot of things, but it's saying a big investing principle. It is wise. You want to live a successful life, know about investing, you need to always know the conditions of your flock. Do not let things, you can't just buy something, never look at it again. You can't make investments, not look into it. This all falls under the general idea of planning, but you have to know the conditions of your flock. And now imagine how many investing mistakes you've heard about. This one goes to all the athletes. You know what I'm saying? People make a lot of money. They're not monitoring it. They're not monitoring what's happened, where it's going. They don't tend to the conditions and know the conditions of everything they own and are keeping a tab on it. That usually will lead to decline. So that's another one. And then the final one for Proverbs 28:19. Whoever works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follow worthless pursuits will have plenty of poverty. So this is another one of those, watch out for the get-rich things, the get-rich-quick things, but once again, it is saying you need to apply yourself to productive tasks. Now, this really stands out for me because it relates to chasing investments and opportunities. You want to do trading full-time? Don't quit your job until you are making good money trading. You want to do real estate? Don't quit until you gain traction in that industry. The general idea is your work, your time, your effort, if you are constantly putting stuff in, effort and work, it's going to lead to a result. And most people do not work and get nothing back. You may not think it's a lot at certain times, but the general idea here is saying be careful that you don't give up something like that to chase a pursuit that you spend time on without it being something that gives you back. So how do you know if it's worthless or not? Like I'm saying, we've dealt with this in a lot of different careers, and the people we've dealt with, it's like, hey, you got an idea, you're working on this. You got to kind of find a way to work at both, but you do not want to give up good income for something that is not confirmed yet. That is oftentimes, especially building young, that's what slows people down a majority of the time. So that's enough of Proverbs though, but we got a lot more to talk about. And now the next one I'm going to go over is about living a quiet life. So we've gone through Proverbs. I'm jumping all over the book. These are investing lessons. They come across as other things, but it is for investment. And this one reminds me of the richest man of Babylon. I don't know if you remember that story. He's speaking with them. It was Arcad, and he's saying, hey, you got to save your money and do this. And they're like, wait a minute. Why should we suffer and not spend our money when we're the ones who worked for it? So the investing concept in here, and I'm going to share the verse after, but is that most people destroy their shot of leaving the rat race and getting wealth because they get caught up in the lifestyle. This is what I want you to understand. You have a better chance of making a lot of money and then going broke than never making any money at all and then going broke. I know that may sound weird. The why is what you should be asking. Why? Because when you make money, the real you starts to come out. And if it's not disciplined and you have a big appetite, your wealth will be at risk. So here's the verse. It is in 1 Thessalonians 4:11 through 12. And it says, and to aspire to live quietly, to mind your own affairs, and to work with your hands as we instructed you, so that you may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one. So I gave you the first lesson. Again, controlling your appetite for investing and building wealth. I'm telling you, living a quiet life, being content, it will go a very, very long way. Trust me. But there was also a big part at the end of that. I hope you got it. A big part of the investing logic in the Bible, it's really important, is that it revolves around not being dependent on nobody. The whole idea, God wants you to depend only on him. So this idea of being self-sufficient is a huge investing concept that is there. So again, maybe you don't want to rely on God. God bless you. I don't know. Does that make you? I'm not trying to make you mad. That's what I say. But like for real, I hope that as investing in somebody for yourself, you place a value on being dependent on nobody. That is the general idea here. It's saying discipline and following principle. When it comes to money, it should leave you in a place now where you are self-sufficient and not needing to compromise for anything. So I really hope you guys get that one, but let me go to another one, and this one should stand out. Luke 14:28 through 30. For which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. So like I'm saying, I hope this principle stands out. The principle is planning, my brother, especially when it comes to building. And honestly, building always comes with a cost. Don't you ever forget that. And I'm talking both physically and non-physically. You want to build anything, there is going to be a cost. But my friend, there is no success without planning. If you take on a big task, take on some planning. You want to build your wealth while ignoring a plan. It may work for a little bit, but like it's saying, you could get up to the foundation, but this is an age-old mistake of wealth and building and doing things that people have been doing for a long time. So that's the best part. I'll give you one more, though. The better part is consider how old this is, too. This whole quote, the Bible, all of that, nothing has changed. And one, how people build and people running out of money building, doing all that stuff, but even more so, down to the fact that people will mock you for your failed investment. Even the Bible knew that would happen. Interesting, but there's a lot more, and I have so much to go over with you guys, but If you read the book with this type of lens, I'm sure you'll find even more, but I'm going to leave you with this final thing. The whole entire concept of faith in the Bible is investing. This idea of storing treasures in heaven and not on earth sounds a lot like investing for the future and what you cannot see. So, Chad, I hope you enjoyed this, man. Some of you, if you didn't, like I said, I hope you learned something in the principles. And my camera just died, so I'll have to finish this there without any visual. But for real, I want you to learn about it. I hope this exposes you to the investing concepts. You know how I like my Bible and other things, but for real, I don't know what you believe in. I don't care, but I do hope when knowledge comes your way, if it could benefit you, you take it and use it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you guys on stream. Get ready for Chad's giving as well. And that's it. I don't know if I could yell right now. There's kind of echo. Am I quiet today? Okay, horn.